Step into the ring, it's time to rock the night. Sergeant Slaughter's here, ready for the fight. $1 million man with his gold and his flair. We've been through it all, we've gone everywhere. WrestleRock, where legends collide, with no son of Ben and Johnny by our side. Tomahawk chops, on and drops. We're the podcast that never stops.
Hi everyone, you're watching the WrestleRock podcast season 7. I'm Johnny D and I'm hosting this episode with my partner Benoit, aka Nostradamus. Ben, as you going today, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing well, and you?
Yes, I'm doing super great, and I'm very honored to have a special guest. And do you remember the good old days of the WCW?
In the 90s, of course.
Yes, the 90s. And we have the honor to receive a former member of the Flock. Do you remember the Flock?
Yes, Raven was the leader.
Yes, exactly. We have none other than Mr. Lodi, aka Brian Kane. Hey, how's you going today, my friend?
How you doing, guys?
Yes,
Fine.
yes. We are extremely grateful that you accept our invite. And why? Because I repeat every time, but I know that you have many activities, and sometimes it's hard to reach someone, and this guy in front of us has a professional wrestling training school in USA, of course, but also he owned a fitness gym. Yeah. And during this episode, we'll learn a lot of interesting stories about Brian Kane. So go ahead with the first question, because if my memory is good, Benoit, Mr. Kane has a background on U.S. Army.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Lodi, can you tell us about your experience in the U.S. Army Reserves?
Of course, I was in the military. I was in college. I was at East Carolina University.
Okay.
I was putting myself through school. I was a political science major.
Okay.
And I was working 7 nights a week as a bouncer. I was working at a nightclub. And it was a lot, going to school and working full time. And several of my buddies that I met my freshman and sophomore year were all in the reserves. And they were like, hey, Uncle Sam will pay for some of your education. If you'll go to basic training one summer, join the reserves, you go to your job training the following summer, you don't miss any college. And my grandfather served, my uncle served, my dad was in the military for a short time. So
congratulations for your career.
Thank you. And so for me, it sounded like, this would be a great idea. And I signed up to go to basic training that summer, between my sophomore and junior year.
Mm-hmm.
And the day I graduated basic training was August 2nd, and Iraq invaded Kuwait.
Oh,
and so that's when, the first Iraqi war kicked off.
Oh, the Gulf War.
Yeah.
1991.
Yes, there you go. Now, I was a scrub nurse in the operating room, so the medical units got activated first. So as soon as I graduated basic training, I was expected to go back to college and go back to be a college student. And I found out I got activated to active duty and had to go to my job school, and then served a year and a half on active duty during Desert Storm.
And with this opportunity, we know that you studied political science in college.
Yeah.
If you hadn't become a pro wrestler, my friend, do you think you would have pursued a career in politics or law?
I think my political science degree was going to go towards my legal degree. I was going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
As you will probably find out, I like to talk a lot. And so I've got that part down. And I fell in love with bodybuilding and working out my sophomore year in college before I went into basic training. And so even though I was really invested in being a political science major, as soon as I graduated college, I opened a personal training business. I couldn't wait to work and train people and help other people learn what I had learned from my personal trainer
Mhm.
and emulate what he had done. So that's where the political science path kind of diverted a little bit. I went ahead and finished and got my degree in political science, but I opened up a personal training business the day after I graduated college.
Wow. Go ahead.
Okay, you were trained by C.W. Anderson.
I saw you with the hand signs there. That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
uh,
CW is one of my best friends in the whole world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we received him
with Jazz.
back in the days with Jazz. Yeah, that
Oh,
was
very
season
cool.
2.
yeah, he was a fantastic person. You know.
Yeah.
He was my original trainer. He trained me
Okay.
first before I
Okay.
went to the power plant at WCW.
Mhm.
I actually just wrestled CW last weekend.
Oh, okay. We say hi to
Yes.
Chris.
Yes, hi.
Yes.
They had MLW, the Battle Riot, this weekend. He and Brock did.
Okay.
But the weekend before, me and
Okay.
one of my young kids wrestled him in a tag match, wrestled Brock and
Oh, wow.
CW. Yeah.
Nice.
But did you ever get the chance to wrestle in ECW, or he was only your trainer?
He was only my trainer, and he had not
Okay.
been, he had not been to ECW at that point.
Okay.
He trained me for a couple of months, and I had my first match and started wrestling. And
Okay.
then I went to the power plant and tried out for WCW about an hour. Thinking about a year and a half after I first started doing shows.
Okay.
And I made it through the tryout and started on TV a couple of months later after being down in Atlanta. And I told CW, he was living in Raleigh, North Carolina. I said, the only way you're going to get on TV one day is if you go down to Atlanta and go to the power plant. So he too went down to the power plant and worked under Buddy Lee Parker, Sarge, and Pistol Pez Wally like I
we say
did.
hi to Sarge.
And and then he got picked up. It was funny. Sarge and I were exchanging messages last weekend because he trained me and he trained CW. And he asked me, so you got any shows coming up soon, kid? And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually wrestling CW next weekend. He's like, I challenge you guys to go 20. I said, well, Sarge, we're old. We're in a tag match. We ain't going 20 minutes, but thanks. So, yeah. But, yeah, he went there, and then he ended up getting a tryout through Tommy Dreamer for ECW,
cool.
and that's how he started at ECW.
Cool. And I remember an important part of your wrestling career, of course, in the Dangerous Minds tag team with Curtis White. So, what's your favorite moment with Curtis White?
Oh, wow. That would be hard to give you a favorite moment because Curtis and I, we started together training under CW. I went up a couple of times and trained under CW. Then Kurt actually had moved to Greenville, North Carolina, and he came into the gym. I didn't know him. And somebody had told him I had started wrestling training. And he walked into the gym one day and said, hey, I'm looking for Brad Kane. I'm like, that's me.
Okay.
He said, hey, I heard you started training to wrestle. I would love to get into that. And so where CW's school was about an hour and a half away. So he and I would drive up 2 nights a week, go to wrestling practice, drive back. And then we started wrestling, and he and I became tag team partners. So he also, too, went down to the power plant in Atlanta and made it through. And the second time, he quit the first time when I made it through, but came back the next month, tried out again, and made it, then moved to Atlanta and was my roommate. When I say, a favorite story with, Toad, Raven changed his gimmick. Raven turned him into the Toad character.
I remember that.
He dyed the green hair, the whole 9 yards, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of miles together, and a whole lot of matches. But he and CW and I spent a lot of time when we were young before I started working on TV, doing a lot of, indie shows with Matt and Jeff Hardy and Shannon and Shane, that whole group from Omega. We all worked together in the Carolinas. So there are lots of fond memories of being young kids and us making $10 a night and driving 14 hours round trip to go do one show,
Yes, you deserve your career.
Yeah, those are the things you do when you're young and trying to make it,
Yeah, when we were young, we're sometimes stupid. But when we have something in head, we can do everything,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When you have a goal in mind, you can really,
exactly.
the
when we have a
discipline,
goal in mind.
dedication, stick with it, and that if you're good at it, it's going to pay off. It's just those steps you have to go through. Sometimes people will give me a hard time. They're like, man, I'd love to have your job at WCW. And I tell them about how I started. And they're like, I'd never drive 14 hours to make $10. That's stupid. I'm like, all right, that's
But
why
every
you'll never
time,
work at
yeah,
WCW, you know? So, yeah.
man, and it's super interesting because every time when we discussed with guests, it's practically always the same. So if you are not dedicated for your sport, you can you can be a professional wrestler because it's a heart and soul. So it is what it is.
Vocation,
Yes,
vocation,
it's a vocation, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you were
Well,
talking about Scott Levy, aka Raven, of course.
Yes, the Raven. Yeah.
Yeah, Raven played a pivotal role in your WCW career. Can you talk about the impact he had on you and whether you consider him as a mentor?
Yeah. Raven is by far the greatest influence on my career.
okay.
If there was no Raven to meet me, there probably would never be a Lodi.
Oh,
He
okay.
he he gave me an opportunity to work on TV. He helped get my job,
Okay.
and once he did that, our whole relationship started. I was living in Atlanta, and he had just moved back there
Okay.
from ECW, and he hired me through a mutual friend of ours to be his personal trainer in the gym.
Okay.
And so that's how we met and started working together. And within 2 or 3 workouts, he hired me as his personal assistant, which
Oh,
meant I
wow.
ran some of his errands stuff when he was on the road. And whenever he was in town, I'd drive him around and we'd run errands and hang out together. But I learned so much from him about the wrestling business.
Probably.
And I will never forget, and I've told this story a gazillion times, but if you don't know it, it's pretty cool. We were at a bar one night, it was like 11:30, and he's like, man, I really need you on the road with me. I hate, you're home and on the road with me. I'm like, well, I'd love to be on the road with you too. That'd be great if I worked for WCW. And he goes, hang on a second, let me make a phone call. And he calls Terry Taylor, who was the booker at the time, and I was down at the power plant. He said, hey, what do you think about me putting Brad Kane in the flock on Monday at Nitro? And I'm only hearing Raven's side of the conversation. He's like, oh, no, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Okay, that's cool. Thank you. All right, Terry, have a good night. And he hangs up, and I'm like, well, that didn't sound like it went too well. Sorry about that. He goes, well, I wanted you to start Monday at Nitro. I forgot we had a pay-per-view this weekend. You start Sunday at the Palace at Auburn Hills. And this is
Okay.
Thursday. This is Thursday night at 11:30, right? It's almost
Oh,
midnight.
shit. Oh,
And
shit.
so, and
That's
he's
the
like,
last
hey,
time.
right.
Shit.
He said, we fly out Saturday morning to go because they have to go to the pay-per-view a day early. And he
Mhm.
said, hey, you need to buy a ticket to fly to Detroit on Saturday. WCW will pay you back. Don't worry about it. Just get on the same flight I'm on. He looks at me, he said, kid, you don't look like a star. I had dark hair at the time. He said, you need to go dye your hair blonde tomorrow. Let's make you Billy Idol. I'm like, what? He goes, go get some black leather pants, get some boots, get some chains, get a
Yeah.
glove. We're going to make you Billy Idol. So in one day's time now, because it's Thursday night at almost midnight, we're in a bar. He said, you got to get, the black leather pants, the chains, the gloves, the biker boots, get your
Wow.
hair dyed, the whole 9 yards, and catch like a 7:00 flight to Detroit on Saturday. So that Friday was quite a hectic day for the Lodi monster, running around, getting a whole gimmick change. But we pulled it off, and my hair was so dark, they had to dye it like 3 times to get it blonde. Totally fried my scalp. It was horrible. But that was the birth of the Lodi character, thanks to Raven, and we pulled it off. And
Wow.
they got me on TV, and I managed to keep my job till the end. So here I am
Wow.
now. You're looking almost 30 years later, and still doing it.
Unfortunately, you had an injury during a match against Psychosis.
Right?
Psychosis, yeah. When you injured your ankle in a match, how long did you have to take off before coming back to the square circle?
So I had surgery on my ankle. I had broken a bone in my ankle, which is called your medial malleolus, and they put 2 pins in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
They made a mistake with the therapy, and as I was
Oh,
rehabbing my ankle,
yeah.
the therapist told me to do some stuff early that I was not supposed to do until 6 or 7 weeks post surgery.
Okay.
So I was doing therapy, and I actually pulled it back further apart after the surgery than it was initially. So they had to redo the surgery 3 weeks later. But the good news about having to redo the surgery, my knee was still swollen really bad. They didn't realize I
Oh,
tore my meniscus too. So I had 2 injuries. So when I went
Oh.
back under the knife, I had my knee done and my
Mhm.
ankle. But from that surgery, I was out 10 more total weeks. So I missed about 13 weeks of TV.
Yeah, and if you can give an advice to young wrestling talent, make sure that you're ready to come back
Right.
in a ring because
That's always important. And, and like you guys mentioned earlier about me having a wrestling school. One thing I tell all the kids,
imagine.
what we do is inherently dangerous.
Hmm.
If you do it long enough,
Yeah,
you're going to get hurt. The
exactly.
question is, how bad is it going to be? Nobody knows. I
Hmm.
know guys that have wrestled 10 and 12 years before they have their first injury. I know
Hmm.
guys that wrestle 6 months and have a major injury. There's just no, we don't have a crystal ball that
Yeah,
says wrestler A is going to get hurt a year in and here's what's going to happen. Because just you get two big guys moving around and things don't always go according to plan. And like I said, what we do is dangerous enough already. And injuries are part of what we do. And that's just a side effect of, of our
oh,
business and
we have a
how bad.
all right, all right, all right. Sorry, we have a little
Little trouble.
connection problem. Okay,
Okay.
everything is come back. All right, perfect. So
The
go
next
ahead with the
question,
next question.
You teamed up with Laney Lane as the West Hollywood Blondes. Can you tell us more
Yes,
about
sir.
that period, please?
Yes.
That was one of my most enjoyable times on TV ever.
Wow.
Lenny and I did not know each other very well before we put that team together, and
Mhm.
the two of us became really good friends, and we got along so well. I think that was part of the on-air chemistry you saw. I think came from us genuinely becoming really close friends off air and off TV. And we did everything together. We rode together, we flew together, we worked out together, and we have a great relationship to this day. We really have never had a head-butting argument where we couldn't just work something out pretty quick. Lenny's a really easy guy to get along with, and I would say I'm probably the more difficult one of the two. And he and I always just managed to work things out if there was ever an issue that came up. And there are tag teams I know that you would know if I named them, who look great in the ring and have great chemistry, and off
That's
air or
nice.
off TV can't stand each
Mhm.
other. They don't do anything together, And Lynn and I reconnected for a show back in 2019. It had probably been 7 or 8 years since we had worked together, and it was just like riding a bicycle. It was just, it fell in so easy. It felt like we've been together every day since. So whenever we catch up now, it feels like no time has elapsed or passed. So it's cool to have a friend like that.
And mostly when you're using the Hollywood Blondes names, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I remember in 2004, you did a tryout at on Velocity for the WWE.
right.
I'm curious because you were faced off Mr. Brad Attitude, and what happened after this experience with WWE? Did you ever receive feedback, positive
Yeah,
vibes, or were you simply ghost by the management?
I did. They brought me in several times
Okay.
with the idea of bringing back the old Lodi character. They brought me back with my new tag team partner at the time, Scotty Matthews, and they just never really. I don't know if they felt like I was too old at that time. They didn't want to use any of the
Mhm.
WCW guys for whatever reason. It just never stuck, and that was the last time I actually worked for WWE on a
Mm.
TV role.
Okay.
And it's funny because I saw Brad Attitude at a show last month, and the cool thing about that whole event was my referee at the time was Charles Robinson, and Charles and I were very good
Yeah.
friends from WCW. And
Okay.
I love Charles to death, and he lived
Nice.
here in Charlotte where I live. So Charles and I spent a lot of time together. So for
Okay.
my last WWE match, it was cool that Charles was my ref. I got to wrestle one of my friends. It was down in
Mhm.
Greenville, South Carolina, and yeah, that was a cool experience.
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Okay, my next question is a little bit personal, but
Shoot.
okay, you've been very open about your battle with addiction, particularly to GHB and painkillers. What
Yes.
advice would you give to people facing addiction issues today? How did you manage to overcome it?
So when I lost my job at WCW,
Oh shit.
Oh,
I ended up going to rehab before WWF bought WCW. I was
okay.
Lenny and I were two of the last guys to get let go before WWE came in and bought WCW. And because
2001.
they were cutting guys, we were two of the last ones to get let go. And it at that time, WWF wasn't hiring anyone else because they already hired so many guys that away from WCW.
Totally, it was a stack roster
Right.
from the two parts,
It was
from the two
AOL
sides.
Warner, the contract with
Yeah.
AOL Warner, if my memory is good.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And
Hmm.
so I went to rehab and worked on getting clean and sober, and I pretty much kicked my
Hmm.
drug habit. Went overseas with the World Wrestling All Stars and wrestled with them for a while. Was still drinking. I kicked alcohol totally in 2009. Been completely sober since then. If someone's battling with addiction now, it's hard to convince someone in the throes of addiction that
Hmm.
living
Totally.
sober is so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
better than
Hmm.
living with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
addiction.
yeah. Totally.
But I feel like one of the reasons God left me here and didn't take me like He
Hmm.
did so many of my friends was to help other people. And so if
Totally.
you reach out to someone that's been through it, whether it's going to see a doctor or going to rehab or finding someone who has successfully overcome the addiction to help you, I think it's really tough to do on your own and in a bubble. You need friends or somebody to lean on to help you with that because for me, some of the things I had to beat some of the addictions like the GHB addiction and the
Hmm.
painkiller addiction. Those two things were really hard on me. It was to kick the painkillers physically, the withdrawal symptoms I was going through because I was taking so many, the
Yeah.
physical aspects of being sick and being hot and
Hmm.
cold and throwing up and all that stuff for like a week was, I don't wish that on my worst enemy. It's terrible. And, it just, those are the things that remind me and I don't want to ever go back to that because I'll never want to go through that again. But waking up sober and clear headed and level minded and knowing God loves me is a whole lot better than anything I ever did under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
I understand your situation because 6 years ago I had addiction with gambling.
Okay.
I lost all my money and
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
no, today I'm okay, but
Good.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. We are now on our, I don't know, just before, you're also a personal trainer, as you said
Yes, sir.
earlier during our interview. So, and run a fitness studios. How did your wrestling career and experience with recovery influence your work in your fitness studio?
So I had obviously a personal fitness studio before I started wrestling. That's what I was
Okay,
doing
okay,
before I
okay,
started wrestling. I owned a
okay.
gym and
You
I was
had
a
that
personal
before.
trainer. I had
Okay,
that before, yeah. So I did that for about 3 years before I ever got into wrestling full time. And
okay.
so I sold my gym when I started working down in
Nice.
Atlanta at WCW.
Hmm.
So when I lost my job at WCW and was looking for something to do, obviously the two things I've loved in my life are working in the gym and helping people get in shape and professional wrestling. So
Hmm.
I tell people with those two jobs, I've never worked a day in my life because I love both of them. And the fact that I can still wrestle today at this age is, I'm very thankful and blessed for that, that I can still do it on the weekends and still get a chance to go out and entertain people. And obviously, I think taking care of my body and working out in the gym
No,
has
it's
allowed me for
important.
the longevity to stay in shape. And then the injuries that I've accumulated over the years,
Yeah.
I've always been able to bounce back from. And I think that is a testament to healthy and clean living and working out and taking care of my body.
And you probably change your move set, your mentality, just to make sure that you can conserve your body, because it's super
Yes.
important. And that's not a trampoline, if you know what I mean. That's a fucking steel structure with a 2 inches of padding, and that's hurt so much.
We had a new kid at practice last night for our beginner night, and of course, once we learn how to do some rolls and stuff, we learn how to take bumps. That's the first thing we do.
Yeah, it's
And
super important.
this kid was 19, and not the biggest wrestling fan. It was kind of strange that he wanted to learn to be a wrestler. He just started watching wrestling and shows up, and I have a guy take a bump for him to demonstrate, right? And this kid's eyes, when he watched him, he's like, his eyes got so big, and he was just like, he was like frozen. And he looks at me, and he looks back at the kid. He's like, "You want me to do that?" And I'm like,
that's
"Yeah,
not
we
a
want
piece of
you to do
cake.
that."
No,
And I
it's
said,
super
I
hard.
can show you again, right? So the guy takes a couple more, and the guy watches him, and it's just blowing his mind. And he takes his first bump, and I'm like, "You okay, kid?" And he's like, "That really hurt." Yes, I was like, "Do it again." Really?
That's a work in progress, and
It
it's
is.
super hard. You have a wrestling school at East Carolina,
Charlotte.
in Charlotte. Sorry, and in
Yeah,
North
okay,
Carolina.
yeah.
Sorry,
Right.
it's my
That's
bad.
okay.
The name is the Team Fearless Training Academy. Do you want to talk about this academy? Because
Yeah.
I remember and I follow you since many months, and we discovered that some former wrestler was there to train sometimes as Magnum TA, everyone.
Nikita Koloff,
Nikita Koloff, of
the
course.
Russian nightmare.
Yes. And so go ahead, my friend. It's your
So
time.
Magnum and Nikita are both good friends of mine.
Okay.
And the three of us have done some ministry work together.
Nice.
I'm a Christian speaker, and I speak a couple of times a month.
Yeah.
I've done different outreaches with Magnum and Nikita before. And one thing we have here at my gym every other month, we have a men's group that meets, and it's called the Weight Room Revival. And Nikita and Magnum both spoke at my last one.
Nice.
Some of the cool things that have happened with my wrestling school, though, Magnum reached out to me probably a little over a year ago. Last fall, his son, who was still in high school, came in and started training with me. So I got to work with Magnum's son. I also trained Arn Anderson's son, Brock.
Okay.
And Brock Anderson, who was now tagging with CW. So you see the lineage there. I trained Brock originally, and now he tag teams with my original trainer, CW Anderson, and they work as the Andersons. So that's cool. And before Ashley went down to Florida to WWE, I was Charlotte Flair's first trainer as well.
Your gym is in Charlotte.
Yes, my gym is in Charlotte. Yes, sir.
Are you a Carolina Panthers fan?
So as a kid, in 1977, I was 7 years old, and I saw this team that had a star on their helmet, and Tony Dorsett and Roger Staubach were the quarterback and the running back, and they won the Super Bowl. And I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan ever since. So I live in Charlotte. So I follow the Panthers, but I'm a Cowboy fan at heart. They're terrible, but I still love them.
Just before our pre-closing segment, everyone, so if you want more informations about the Team Fearless Training Academy, so go to just called on the following numbers, and Brian is there for you. So that's a really good opportunity if you want to work very safe, and that's the right person for you, everyone. So
thank you very much.
Wow, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. As usual, we have a pre-closing segment. So I give you some names, and can you share a few words about each one, all right?
Absolutely.
So, all right. The first one is Goldberg.
I'm going to have a different take than most guys, I promise.
No problem.
I love Bill.
Okay.
All right.
I trained with Bill at the power plant.
Okay.
So
cool.
When Bill was learning how to give that jackhammer and spear, guess who got to take it?
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah, so we were at the power plant at the
God,
same
you're
time.
still alive.
Yes, I'm still alive. Can I share a 30-second? Can I share a 30-second Goldberg story with you?
Go ahead, my friend.
This may change your guys' mind, and I'm bringing this up because you guys started it. You asked about my injury with psychosis, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Your ankle and
So,
your knee?
I broke my ankle during a live nitro in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
We went dark, went to a commercial. My ankle's broke. I'm laying in the ring, and the referees calling for the coach to come down. They helped me out of the ring, and they have to, because I can't put any weight on my leg. And I'm limping back through the curtain, and we barely get me back through the curtain before the next segment starts.
Okay.
The arena we were in, the entrance was on the opposite side of the arena from where the locker room was. So you had to walk all the way around underneath the arena to get to the entrance. As soon as coach and referee Mickey J walked me through the curtain, Bill Goldberg was standing at the curtain. He pushed them out of the way, and he picks me up. And he carries me all the way around the arena back to the locker room. He said, Lodi, the only reason I didn't come to the ring to get you in front of all the fans, they had just started an angle with he and Perry Saturn. He's like, I couldn't come out there. He saw me get hurt on the monitor in the locker room and came all the way to the gorilla position to carry me back to the locker room. So you're not going to hear me say anything bad about Bill.
That's cool to have a freshness news story about Goldberg, because sometimes it's very different, you know. The second one, Eric Bischoff.
Eric was the boss, and Eric dealt with the top guys. He dealt with the top guys. He didn't have a whole lot of time for me and the flock. He didn't have a whole lot of time for me and Lenny Lane, but occasionally he would speak here or there. He got on to Lenny a couple of times and told us to tone it down a little bit. He said, "Don't go too overboard." He knows who I am. He was always polite to me. I was polite to him. We didn't have a real close relationship.
Totally. The third one, Booker T.
Five times. I love me some Booker T.
Yes, the off-man's guy was awesome.
Booker and Stevie Ray were my second match on Nitro ever against me and Scotty Riggs, and I worked with both Stevie Ray and Booker after that. And as I mentioned, going overseas with World Wrestling All Stars, Stevie Ray, Booker's brother, was on that tour with me. So we did Australia one tour, the UK tour of England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland another. And so Booker and Stevie Ray both class acts. Nice. I love both those guys.
Nice. And the last one, Lodi, Brian Kane, yourself.
Wow. A blessed and charmed individual who's been able to live a life that as a kid,
a perseverant person.
I could only imagine, living. One last story to show you how cool my life has been. I grew up in the Carolinas watching the Four Horsemen, and Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff. I used to go to the Greensboro Coliseum once a month to watch these guys wrestle. And last fall, when Magnum's son was here training, his name is Tucker. He had 4 or 5 training sessions, and he was in the ring and on the beginner night. And Arn and Brock still come into practice usually once a week. And I was sitting on a bench outside the ring, and Magnum is on one side and Arn is on the other. Magnum and Arn are friends. And I put Brock in the ring, Brock Anderson, with Tucker Allen, Magnum's son. Wow. And they're in there just rolling around together. And
that's one of a kind.
Magnum leans over to Arn and says, "Hey, Arn, how cool is it that our sons are in the ring wrestling together?"
The next generation?
Yes, the next generation.
And Arn's like, "Hey, this is pretty cool." I'm like, "You two guys, wait a minute. I know this is pretty cool for both of you. How cool do you think it is for me to be sitting in between two of the heroes that I looked up to as a kid, knowing that I train their kids and their kids are in my wrestling ring wrestling each other while the three of us watch?" I said, I'm the lucky one here.
That's awesome.
But that's just a prime example of, if you told 12-year-old Lodi he was going to one day sit between Arn Anderson and Magnum TA and watch their kids wrestle, 12-year-old Lodi would have never believed you,
Yeah,
so very cool, very blessed. God loves me a lot.
Awesome. So finally, as usual, my partner, Benoit, Nostradamus Ben, it's all about the French prophet. He will try to predict the future of our guests. Go ahead, my friend.
First of all, Lodi, thank you so much for the interview. It was a pleasure, an honor.
Yeah, that was super fantastic. Such a good time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, guys.
Okay, my prediction, eventually, maybe me and Joe, even we're 40,
Yes.
We can come to see you in your gym.
Yes.
Maybe
why
a
not?
little practice with you.
Yes.
Anytime you have a standing
All
invitation.
right. All right. Super cool. And I predict you that you will be more involved with your
Students, rookie.
student rookie, more guests and success on all your team fearless. We totally deserve it, and I repeat a quote from Scott Hall, but it's exactly for you. So hard work pays off,
Yeah.
and yes, you totally deserve it. So thank you so much for your 35 generous minute, Mr. Ken. It
Absolutely.
was such a great moment altogether. We wish you all the best for your upcoming um, activities, for your
Good luck in your
personal
projects.
company, exactly, for your
Yes.
projects. So we wish you good LT, because without LT, we can do nothing. So it's
Yeah.
super important. Thank you so much for your time. It was,
Thank you guys. Have a blessed day.
You
yes,
too.
thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Step into the ring, it's time to rock the night. Sergeant Slaughter's here, ready